Hi everyone, as promised, this is a brief video designed to help you complete the annotated bibliography that you will be submitting in week 4. I want to go ahead and suggest that rather than going straight to the assignments page every week, that you start in the modules, right? If you start here, you're going to see everything you need to do that week. I really can't stress enough how important it is to work through these so that you're not missing materials. If you go straight to the assignment, you're not going to get all the videos and readings and these sorts of things. So make sure you're doing the readings, you're working through the modules, you're reading the assignment sheet, because otherwise these assignments are not going to make any sense. The modules are the equivalent of class time, and so if you're skipping those, you're going to be confused. So if I'm working through the module, the first thing I'm going to see is a video that explains what an annotated bibliography is, and it'll go over sort of generally what an annotated bibliography is and what you should expect to have to do and why you might do an annotated bibliography. I've also put a link to some examples on the Al Purdue website, and as you see here, tips specific to our class, video coming soon. This video will be located here. Discussions. You're going to grade a sample annotated bibliography, so you'll get a chance to look at one that I think you'll find helpful. Okay. Make sure that you're looking at the rubric and grading it according to the rubric. My main goal here is for you to get a feel for the specific requirements of that annotated bibliography so that you are not losing points for simple things like the kinds of sources you have to have, how many sources you have to have, those sorts of things. When you get to the next page in the module, you're going to have the actual assignment sheet, the rubric with point values, an APA citation video tutorial, which I've been placing on just about every assignment page now so that you always have something to help you with your citations, links to the Al at Purdue, right? I've also given you an annotation template. If you're not real sure how to write an annotation, this can help you here. Just how to summarize a source, and then all you would have to add is your explanation of how that source contributes to your project. Let's go ahead and look at the assignment sheet. If you haven't already read it, this might be a good time to stop the video and look over it. Okay. All right, so as you know, this is one large assignment sheet because the proposal, which you did last week, the annotated bibliography, which you're doing this week, and the research paper are all related, right? You propose a topic here, you demonstrate your research here, you make your argument here, okay? And you have all your due dates. So on each of these assignment pages, the assignment sheet is a 3-page document, and you need to scroll down to the relevant week. So for the annotated bibliography, you need 7 to 10 sources to help you answer your research question. So you'll provide a citation in APA style, and then you'll write 4 to 5 sentences, so a short paragraph where you give an overview of the source and how it will help you write your research paper. And I told you, it says here your reading log template is a great model for writing your annotations, and I told you that's a holdover. I apologize for that from a previous semester, but that is that annotation template I'm telling you about that is on the assignment page, so you can pull that up, and it has fill in the blanks. Right, Professor so-and-so in his article, blah, 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 argues X, Y, and Z, right? It just gives you a way, gives you some language to talk about your sources. So once you've summarized your source, you'll add a couple of sentences where you say, this source will help me write my project in these ways, or, you know, I plan to disagree with this source's use of certain research, right? Just tell me what you think you're going to do with that source in your paper. Additional requirements. At least 3 sources must be scholarly journal articles. If you don't know what that means, go back to the database video where I go over making sure you've clicked scholarly to find scholarly sources on the databases. Scholarly just means it's peer-reviewed. That is, people in the field in which it was written, history, psychology, whatever it is, have reviewed it and said it's a valid contribution to the field and that the data contained within it is correct or are correct. The remainder of your sources may be popular. These are things like newspaper articles, magazine articles. They can be popular sources, but they must be reliable and relevant. Again, if you don't know what those mean, Make sure you did the readings for this week that talk about evaluating sources, and go back to the database video that explains the difference between scholarly and popular. A quick note, sometimes students get confused and think that things like encyclopedias count as scholarly sources. Those are general reference sources, and they're a great place to start for general information. For our purposes, I'm going to consider those popular, and I actually would encourage you to move away from those and not use those as your main source. Those are not scholarly per se, they're just good sources of information to get you started, right? So we don't want to be pulling a bunch of articles from things that say like Encyclopedia of Infectious Diseases. We want to either go with scholarly sources or popular sources, and not general reference materials, generally speaking. Your rubric for evaluation. Make sure you've read over this so that you have a sense of what you're being graded on. So, roughly speaking, we're going from the quality of the annotations, adherence to APA style guidelines, source requirements, that is, that you have 3 scholarly and you have a minimum of 7 total, and that, and then grammar here at the bottom, grammar and mechanics. I want to highlight here the source requirements. Notice that all the way over to D, it says meet minimum source requirements, and then in the F category, it says fail to meet minimum source requirements. On the rubric that has the point values, which we'll go over in just a second, you will see, well, you will see that for source requirements, it's either you get the points, 25, or you get F level points, 12 points. For not having enough sources. Because for me, you either have the right amount of sources or right number of sources, or you don't. And I apologize for this crazy formatting. The Canvas rubric did not convert well to a PDF, and I'm having a hard time with Canvas displaying the rubric for you as I see it for some reason. But this will at least show you the points available for each one. But then over here on the Word document, you have it in an easier to read format. Okay. So again, with the source requirements, please be aware if you are even missing 1 source, if you only have 6, that's going to bump you down to 12 points out of 25 on this criterion. So make sure that you're adhering to that. Okay? Everything else is more qualitative in terms of evaluating the quality of what you've done, but this one is sort of purely number-based. You either did it or you did not. Okay, so don't lose points unnecessarily because of that. If you're having trouble finding sources, please come see me, call me on the phone, send me an email. I can help you. I love searching the databases because I'm a huge dork. And no, that's a great thing to be into. If you love it, that's great. But if you're having trouble in the databases, I'm more than happy to help. I can suggest search terms. I can do a screencast of me searching with your search terms. I can do all kinds of things to help you. You just have to let me know what you need help with. Okay? All right, so back on our home page, okay, you'll submit it through Turnitin as you normally would, okay, as you normally would an assignment, and that will check it for plagiarism. So make sure that you are using your own words. If you have questions, I know I've assigned readings about how to avoid plagiarism, what plagiarism is. If you have questions about academic honesty or how to avoid plagiarism, you need further explanation, I'm more than happy to discuss that with you and give you some feedback. Make sure that you are not taking language unattributed or not adequately paraphrased from the abstracts for the articles that you're using. When I've had cases of inadvertent plagiarism with the annotated bibliography, it's usually students submitting things for their annotations that are too close to the abstract for that article. So make sure that you're putting that in your own words, and make sure you're reading the entire article. The abstract is not the article. The abstract is an overview to let you know if it's worth your time to read the article. If you go back in the modules, how to compile an annotated bibliography, if you go to examples and you click on this Out Purdue resource, you're going to have some examples here. You want to scroll past MLA because that's not what we're doing, and go down to an APA annotation. So you can see what you will have is a document of 7 to 10 sources where you have the citation followed by your annotation. This is roughly the length I'm looking for, about 4 to 5 sentences. Figure the first 3 to 4 will summarize the source, and then you will add a sentence in which you explain how you're going to use that source. So that might be something like, this article provided information on how child labor laws have changed over the last 100 years, and I will use that to give background information in the introduction of my essay. Okay, that's all I'm looking for here. So it's a summary, and it's a really brief 1 to 2 sentence explanation of how you're going to use the source. Ultimately, the annotated bibliography will force you to do your research early. You're going to hate me while you're writing it because no one likes to write an annotated bibliography. But once it's done, you'll find that your paper is going to be really easy for you to write, because now you have done all your research, you know what you think on your topic, you have an argument to make, and you are ready to prove that argument with your sources. And you've already got everything cited, you already have summaries, so you don't have to go back and reread articles. Once the annotated bibliography is done, it is an incredibly valuable resource while you're writing, and I think it'll end up saving you a lot of time. A brief note on citation before I let you go, and I apologize, this is as short as I can explain this project. Over on the assignment sheet page where it says References page in APA style, if you go to the OWL at Purdue, it has a list of all kinds of different sources. Okay, I have sent you to electronic sources because most of what you're dealing with from the databases is going to fall under article from a database. So I've suggested you start here, okay, and either plug in your information from the source you're looking at, or use the, as I showed you in the database video, the automatic cite function in the databases, but just make sure you proofread it against these examples. Another likely source type that you will be looking at are newspaper articles online. Okay, so that's here. Okay, and non-periodical web documents or reports, right? So essentially, you don't have to memorize any kind of citation style. You just need to know what you're dealing with and then be able to plug in the information. Okay, hopefully that APA database, or excuse me, that APA tutorial that I've put on the website will help you. I'm also willing to help you decide what kind of source you're dealing with. So if you sent me some information or a link to a source that you're using, I can tell you, oh, that's a book. Let's go over to reference list books and see how we cite that. Or, oh, hey, that's actually, a newspaper article. Let me show you how to do that. Okay, so I can always help you plug in this information. You just got to let me know in advance. As always, please let me know if you have questions. I'm looking forward to reading your work. I'm getting excited about your research projects, and I hope you are too. Thank you.